in the NFL draft.
Hey, make us lunch. We're hungry.
Yo, everybody, how you doing? I got to see the eclipse. I saw the moon. I got my moon glasses or my eclipse glasses. And I was watching this thing come across the sun, and it ain't the moon. It ain't the moon because the moon's over there. It was a giant mother spaceship. That's why we had to wear the glasses, so we wouldn't know. Anyways, before I start, I want to give a shout out to Joey Shake 72, my man, my friend. He did something very nice for me, something Star Wars related. We both love Star Wars, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, and I wanted to say thank you to him, give him a shout out, and definitely everybody subscribe to his channel. He's really a cool guy. Now we're going to talk about this running back situation, because this is a situation that I did a video on in a pure speculating, idea-driven video in which I was sitting there thinking about the running back and the spot. Well, as time has gone by, I have come to realize and to read all over the place that this may actually have legs. This may actually have legs. So I'm here not to discount those legs. I'm here to ratchet up the energy, to ratchet up the talk, to annoy those who don't want it to happen, to give hope to those that do. I want Shady McCoy back with the Eagles. That's what I want. He shouldn't have left, and he left, and he should be back. Chip Dip Kelly was a dingbat to trade him. So this stuff has been ratcheted up, and the reason it's been ratcheted up is not because of talks about the Eagles are interested or have talked to Buffalo about Shady. There was been none of that. There's two main things that I've seen. One, I find it weird that Ronald Darby would like a number in the 20s and he cannot get 25. I don't believe LeSean McCoy's number is going to be retired. I don't think anything like that. So why they would hold it from him, I don't know. I've seen guys wear his number in training camp, during preseason. Maybe they didn't make the team, but during preseason they had it on. So this whole idea that he can't get 25, I find interesting. Second, I read three reports yesterday that Blount is on the outs. Possibly. He is potentially going to get cut. Now, I don't know that I believe he's going to get cut. But let's take for a fact, let's look at some things, and let's just suppose the Eagles would be interested in cutting him. If you're interested or you're thinking you may cut him, one of the things you might want to do is take a look at him in specific ways. You might say, well, before we decide to cut this guy, let's see if he can run outside the tackles. Let's run sweeps. Let's run outside tackles. Let's see how he looks, and let's evaluate him. That's what the Eagles did on Thursday night. They ran him sweeps. They ran him in ways they definitely wouldn't because they wanted to take a look at him. I find that interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Secondly, if you do use Blount, you can use him one way. You have to run him one way. Every team is going to know what you're doing. It's very predictable. And I love Carson Wentz, but he's no Tom Brady. He's no Tom Brady. So think about this, okay? Think about this seriously. If everybody knows what you're doing when he's in, you're going to have to throw a lot more because everybody's going to be shutting that run down because they're going to know how to stop, especially with a small center. So this whole Blount maybe cut thing I think it is actually true. I think the Eagles are trying to figure this out. And when the Eagles, and I've said this before, when they are trying to figure things out and they are planning or thinking of doing something, they put out reports to the media. There's certain reports you start reading. You saw it clear as day with Jordan Matthews and Ronald Darby, and it was one of the big reasons I made the prediction that the Eagles would trade for a corner big-time trade, which I took heat for and people laughed at me, but I was right. I nailed it. So part of that reason that I was able to figure that out was because I read what the Eagles did. I know that they release things to the beat writers and to people, and you see these kind of stories. So the Eagles are possibly thinking of cutting him. They leak it out that they're thinking of possibly doing. They may not, but I think it's under consideration. So let's say they cut Blount. I don't believe they cut Blount and then go in with Wendell Smallwood as their starting running back or Clement as their starting running back. The only reason you would cut Blount is because you have the plan to bring somebody else in. Maybe somebody specific. Maybe somebody specifically has worn that beautiful helmet. Maybe somebody who didn't want to go. Maybe somebody who knows all the plays. Maybe you're looking at a guy like that. Now, I read an article yesterday discussing the possibility if the Eagles should trade for Shady McCoy. And the article said the Eagles would have to give a first-round pick. Why would you give a first-round pick? It doesn't make sense. What did the Eagles give up? What did they give up when they traded him? Kiko Alonso, is he a first-round pick? What did the Eagles give when they traded DeMarco Murray? Trading a running back with a high salary cap tag makes the guy lose value. They will never get the value for that running back. But if they're serious about tanking and getting a quarterback, then they have to trade him, because a running back like Shady will keep the teams in games. They'll win a couple extra games. Because why? Because he's that good. He'll keep them in games. You get an extra couple wins, you may not get the quarterback. You got to trade Shady. It makes sense. So I believe that Shady's getting traded. I believe at some point he will. Maybe not to the Eagles, but somewhere. I have heard that the Giants want Shady McCoy. Shady McCoy with the Giants puts the Giants, in my opinion, as the best team in the NFC. Flat out. Flat out. So there's a lot of Eagle fans who don't want Shady McCoy back. They think he's too old, 29. But they love the idea of a 30-year-old LeGarratte Blount for 1 year. And the thinking is, well, we'll just draft a running back next year. Well, okay. Let's say we draft a running back next year. We give up a first-round pick. We draft a running back with the first-round pick. Now, if you're going to go into the draft and say, we're drafting a running back with the first pick, our first-round pick, you may have an offensive tackle who's a better talent. You may have a defensive end who's a better talent. You may have guys who are a better talent, and you're telling me you're going to skip the talent to take the running back because you need that position? That's not smart football. That's not smart management. That's how the Eagles have gotten in trouble with first-round picks before. You take the best player. So let's say the Eagles take the best player. Well, now they don't have a second-round pick. They don't have a third-round pick. What are they going to do? Pick another running back in the fourth round? No. They're screwed. They're going to go out and either sign Blount again or do another one-year Band-Aid. Unless Smallwood emerges into something that we don't expect. Doesn't make sense. You understand? But for long-term viability, for a long-term opportunity, trading to get Shady McCoy back would give you an extra year to get the running back for the future. It takes the pressure off having to use a first-round pick. Don't you understand the genius of this? You get him back. You don't have to go out and draft a running back in the first round. If the running back falls, if Barkley falls, you take him. Then you use Shady and Barkley for 1 year. Shady grooms Barkley like Westbrook groomed Shady. Then Shady goes. Or you wait a year, you get your second-round picks, your third-round picks, you get your picks back. Then you draft a running back, and then you have Shady for 1 year. let him groom the running back, and then go. Now people say, well, he's got a $9 million cap tag. Well, so what? You paying him? I ain't paying. It ain't coming out of my pocket. Look, you traded Kelsey, you traded Kendricks, right? That's like $6 million against the cap. So let's say the Eagles said, we're going to trade Kendricks and to Buffalo for the Eagles, because I don't think it would take much. I don't think it would take much to get Shady. Okay, I think a 4th round pick, maybe Kendricks and a late pick, it would be done. Because they're never going to get the value for the running back. You understand? Go look at the statistics. Go look at all the running backs that have been traded the last few years. They've all been traded for next to nothing. Okay? So you get Shady for, let's say, Kendricks and a late pick or something. A future pick. What happens? I think Kendricks is like $5 or $6 million against the cap. Shady's $9 million. So really, you're only paying $3 or extra $4 million for Shady McCoy. They can manipulate. They can manipulate the salary cap. They can manipulate and make it work. That's what Howie Roseman does best. Okay. And lastly, if you want Carson Wentz to be as good as possible and take the biggest step possible, I see no other better alternative than getting a dynamic running back like a Shady McCoy behind Wentz to help Wentz, to take the pressure off Wentz. Are you kidding me? Shady McCoy is at least the top 5 back still. And I bet you he got 2 more years in that level. At least 2 more years. Blount, I don't know, he has 1 year. He took a lot of carries last year. So in the end, what I'm saying to everybody is, not that I think they're going to go out and get Shady. Not that I think Blount is going to get cut. I kind of don't think he's going to get cut, unless you have a plan to get a running back like a Shady McCoy. But what I'm saying is, if the Eagles are smart, if they're really smart, getting Shady McCoy helps now, it helps the future, it helps the team across the board. There is no downside. Except for they have to pay a running back a little more money. Well, guess what? Make it work. Make it work. Because you know what? Your quarterback, your franchise quarterback, is going to be a better player with Shady McCoy than with LeGarratte Blount. The Eagles are going to have trouble running the ball with LeGarratte Blount this year. You can tell. And the reason I'm saying it is because when they're running him north and south, everybody's going to know what's coming. It's not Tom Brady handing off the ball. Okay, people are going to test Wentz a little more than they would Tom Brady. So what's going to happen is they're going to have to not run him. They're going to have to fake and play action and pass more. That puts more pressure on Wentz. So there's no downside to this. Nobody can tell me. There's not one downside to trying to get Shady McCoy. And if the Eagles really want to get rid of Blount, they better go get Shady or somebody else. I don't know that that's what's going to happen. I don't know that they're thinking about that. But I'm just saying, if they're going to get rid of Blount, they have another plan. They have to have something else. That's what I think. So anybody who disagrees, that wants to tell me why we shouldn't get Shady, and besides the $9 million cap hit, which can be worked out, there is no other reason. There is no other reason unless it's a personal gripe against Shady. With that said, that's my opinion. We'll see what happens. Take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.